Hello, this is Soundout here, and happy May the 4th, which means we're going to do a Star Wars video, because I could use a easy video. We're going to do a Star Wars tier list, because it's May the 4th, and I thought, hey, because I ain't reviewing Star Wars figures. If you want to see a new one, here's Fennec Shand. She's not necessarily that new, but she looks nice. If camera would want to focus on her for 2 seconds, there we go. There's Fennec Shand. She's neat. I've been on a downswing of like Star Wars toy collecting love and other things, but let's just try to reinvigorate it a little bit by talking about Star Wars movies and TV shows. We're going to rank these on a tier list, and the tier list itself is not anything too complicated. It's an S to D tier list. We're going to do it, just like I've done in the past, not so much this is better than this, but I liked this more than this, if that makes some sense. And we'll see if everyone hates me for my Star Wars opinions, because it's entirely possible that I make people upset with this. And if that's the case, let me know in the comments below. But let's do this. I'm gonna just roll with the punches, because Tier Maker always just puts images in a weird order. But I'm gonna try to do this chronologically by release. How about that? So the tiers: S tier, favorites of all time. A is best of the rest. B is appreciated. C didn't hate. D don't talk to me. Yeah, we're gonna go through it. Again, this is gonna be like a mixture of quality plus opinion. So here we go. All right, first things first, Star Wars, also known as Episode 4, A New Hope, from its 1980-something re-release onward. Not the special editions. Actually, I found out, I like researching movies. Yeah, the New Hope title came from the 80s re-release, not the special edition specifically. So there you go. But anyways, what we now know as Episode 4 was previously known as Star Wars. Excellent movie, groundbreaking in a lot of ways. Sort of broke through into the sci-fi fantasy genre that George Lucas wanted to make. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty solid movie. I enjoy it a lot. It does lag in the middle quite a bit, and that is a bit of a problem. So for me, it's going to go in the A tier. It's still fantastic. I would put it in the S tier if the movie was a little tighter, but a lot of the experimentation, a lot of the storytelling was sort of finding its footing at this point. So there's a lot to go on there. And I'm not including anything I haven't seen, by the way. So there's stuff on here. If there's something I missed, I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen everything Star Wars necessarily. I've seen all like the canon stuff. And there's some non-canon stuff in here for funsies. But I haven't watched Droids. I haven't watched Ewoks. I keep forgetting to watch Visions. I keep trying to watch Visions is what I should say. And then there's some other little things that I haven't seen. But for the most part, I've seen pretty much everything. So yeah, I mean, Star Wars, that's an A tier. What next? Empire Strikes Back. So Empire Strikes Back, really, actually, it did feel like a better movie. I think it was a definite step up from the first one. Oh wait, no, that's not the next thing it released. Sorry. I just realized we're not talking about Empire. Star Wars Holiday Special. I put this on here because I've seen it. The Star Wars Holiday Special, aka an hour of variety show stuff that's vaguely Star Wars themed. George Lucas hates it. He buried that thing so well. I'm pretty sure somebody's got like the original film for this, because the animated segment that debuted Boba Fett, which was in this, keeps getting released in HD. It's even on Disney Plus now. It's under the Faithful Wookiee or something like that. Anyways, the holiday special is an experience. If you've never seen it and you love Star Wars stuff, watch it. It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's not like it's hard. It got bootlegged years ago, and it's just floated about. You can find it. I will give this thing credit because it's the segment with B. Arthur that works for me. The cantina scene, fantastic stuff. Stir whip, 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 stir whip is forever stuck in my head. It is absolutely an S. I'm kidding. It's a D tier. Actually, you know what? It's almost not a D tier, because the D tier is like the don't talk to me because I don't want to talk about it. It's going to go in C tier because I hate it. It's terrible, but I also love parts of it. So technically it fits in the didn't hate category. Oh my God, I'm going to get so many comments over this. Moving along, Empire Strikes Back. So Empire Strikes Back, phenomenal film. Absolutely takes everything that was really great about Star Wars, elevates it, makes it a better, experience, tighter storytelling, and has like one of the first times a film really ended on a cliffhanger. This is something we've seen a few times. It's typically done when movies are done close together, like there's a plan. But it did end on a cliffhanger, unresolved story, as opposed to the first one, which, first Star Wars, it wraps up because Lucas was not sure he was getting anything further. Smart move. But yeah, Empire Strikes Back ends sort of on a cliffhanger, and that is really cool because that's influenced a lot of films going forward. There's a lot of trilogies that do this, like Star Trek Wrath of Khan sort of has like a tease. Star Trek 3 definitely is more of a cliffhanger. And, that's going forward into the sci-fi and fantasy genres. Lord of the Rings, of course, everything was a dang cliffhanger because they were planning a trilogy. Matrix has a cliffhanger in 2. There's a lot of stuff there. So I think it influenced a lot of filmmaking in, hey, let's do a story where, we're not finishing it. There's going to be another one. I cannot imagine how that 3-year wait would have been. Oh my gosh. Anyways, Empire Strikes Back, absolutely a favorite of mine. S tier for sure. No doubts. Okay, so from there, barring any other weird stuff, the next thing would be Return of the Jedi. Now, I think that Empire is a better movie, but I like Jedi more. And I don't know how to put this. So, like, Empire is great. Like, it probably is the best made Star Wars film, period. But Return of the Jedi I enjoy more because I feel like, well, first of all, you get the more hopeful ending. Yeah, it's a bit of a chaotic mess in the middle, but so was the first film. The first film was like a slow middle. This is like a chaotic middle. But I enjoy, Luke doing all this stuff. I enjoy Han and Leia's story. I like the Ewoks. I like Lando getting to do stuff and not just having to be the traitorous one in Empire. Like, Lando getting to be the hero here is a big thing. Lando Calrissian, top 5 Star Wars characters. I could rank Star Wars characters probably, but Lando's up there. He's one of my absolute favorites. So I really like Return of the Jedi more. I think that, again, Empire's a stronger movie, but Return of the Jedi is going to go above Empire because I just like it more. And that's the best way to put it, because I really do love Return of the Jedi. I love Empire. They're both great. But Jedi's going to just take the spot above. Okay, so from there, Star Wars goes null and void. We have special editions. When I'm talking about the original films, I'm mostly just going in the overall context. The special editions don't do too many story changes. It's just superficial stuff in a lot of ways. I wish we had the option. One of my things I like about Star Trek is that they give us the option on the discs. If you want the original series with the remastered effects, you have that. But if you want the original, they're right there. Same thing with the motion picture. The director's edition exists as a separate thing from the regular. But those are just ranked based on story and characters and stuff. Personally, a practical effect guy, I do love the original versions. But I do like some of the special edition changes, like Boba Fett's voice, the Emperor's look. Some of those things that help it line up better with other continuity in terms of the visual style, because Star Wars does have this tight continuity with its film, or had this tight continuity with its films. I like stuff like that. But there's other things where it's just like, hey, look, all the CG creatures in Mos Espa, and I'm just like, whatever. Or Mos Eisley, or whichever it was. But the point is, there's that. So, going forward, we've got, the movie that started a whole generation of angry fans. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, Phantom Menace is interesting because the prequels are known as being like super digital effects heavy and everything was shot on blue screen, but there's actually a lot of practical stuff done in Phantom Menace, which is pretty cool. It also introduced Maul, who is in that top 5 favorite Star Wars characters things. As a movie, I like the political drama. I'm also a Gundam fan. Thank you for asking. So, if there's, like the political system of how trade negotiations work is interesting to me. It's world building I like. Well, I understand that like people appreciate the shallower version of Star Wars where it's more, hey, look, bad guy, good guy, fight things. I like the shades of gray that kind of existed throughout the prequel trilogy. And that started here, and I do really like it. So, Episode 1, I'm not going to put it any higher than B tier because I do appreciate it. I think it does have some holdbacks that keeps it up from being in A tier, but it's going to be in B tier. I do like it. Okay, so next up we had Attack of the Clones. Okay, so I lived through the hype train of Attack of the Clones, because we're getting into my era where I was a kid watching Star Wars, which is, a lot of people watched the original trilogy when they were kids. I watched the prequel trilogy because I was born in 1985. I technically saw the special editions in theaters as a 2-year-old, but anyways, point is, I did see the original trilogy, I think, before Phantom Menace, but I was in the hype train for Attack of the Clones because Attack of the Clones was when I was like 6 or 7. So I was in the hype train. Like, I was in on the merchandise. I had all the toys. I was reading books. I was like, I was like super, super excited for this movie. And I loved this movie as a kid. And revisiting it as an adult, it's not as good. I definitely was living the hype train. Attack of the Clones isn't great. As I get older and the more times I've seen it, the more I'm like, oh, okay, so the Padme Anakin stuff is creepy. The digital effects work is not great. I love all the stuff with Jango Fett. That's pretty great. The Jedi battle's really fun. Like, the last 30 minutes of this movie's a blast. I like it. It's the other, like, rest of it. I don't know if I hate it. It's going to go above the holiday special because everything needs to go at least above except for the stuff I really don't want to talk about. God, what goes in D tier? Yeah, I don't know actually what goes in D tier. We may not have a D tier. Anyways, Attack of the Clones, not a great movie. Okay, so moving forward, again talking about hype trains. Oh my god, the hype train for Revenge of the Sith was intense. The marketing campaign for the Clone Wars, oh, fantastic stuff. It got me more excited for that movie than any trailer ever could. But let's get to it. So, Clone Wars, the 2003 animated shorts, which was to bridge the gap between the two. Very nice, concise way to do the Clone Wars. Really do appreciate it. It's aged incredible. This is still really well done. It's on Disney Plus now. Absolutely recommended if you haven't seen it. It is in Best of the Rest, below Star Wars. Fantastic stuff. I'm not trying to get too long-winded here. We're gonna keep rolling. Okay, so there was that, and then we had Revenge of the Sith, which Revenge of the Sith is absolutely the best prequel movie, hands down. I actually would borderline say it's a good movie. I think that a lot of the hate aimed at the prequels is a lot of the weird storytelling gaps, and a lot of that has been fixed if you watch Clone Wars. Just gonna say that right away. But Revenge of the Sith I still think holds up as a good Greek tragedy sort of story because it's the fallout of everything that led to the original trilogy, and I really like it. It still holds up. The visual effects work is insane because it still looks good. You know what? This one's going in the S tier, low S, because I do really think it's fantastic. It still makes me sad. It triggers an emotional reaction when the Jedi die because I was, again, living the hype train as a kid for the Clone Wars, like, original, like, the gap between the movies, and they were just like, look at all the Jedi, aren't they cool? And I'm like, yeah, and then they all die, and I'm like, and that still gets to me. That scene still gets to me. A lot of stuff. And if it can still trigger an emotional reaction nearly 20 years later, that's definitely worth something, for sure. Okay, so then after that, a little hiatus. Clone Wars. So the Clone Wars, which was, hey, let's make a full show, and absolutely was definitely better for it. The Clone Wars movie, not good. It was the first 4 episodes of the show, or 3. It's a 3-parter and then a later flashback episode, all fused together into a movie. I saw it in theaters. It doesn't look great on a theater screen. The animation was good for a TV show, but when you put it on a theater screen, it's like, It's still a good story, and it's still important to the logic, but, God, I don't really want to talk about it as a movie. If it was just a TV movie, like a kind of like, hey, introductory pilot thing, cool. As a theatrical film, bruh. All right, moving along, though, this is going to be like a complete 180. Clone Wars, the series, is amazing. Season 1 and 2, little rough, not going to lie. Season 3, fantastic. Season 4 is great. Season 5 might be the best. Season 6 was pretty good, even though it was cut short. Season 7 was all right, but the final 4 episodes, The Siege of Mandalore, is probably the best Star Wars I've ever seen in my life, and that is undisputed. And that being said, so as a series, this is what I'm going to say. If this was just Siege of Mandalore is top S tier above Return of the Jedi. The way that all came together was incredible stuff. But as a series, because of those earlier seasons, it's going in the A tier. It will go above 2D Clone Wars because that did not have enough story compared to it. But those earlier seasons do drag it out of the S into the A. But that is not a bad thing whatsoever. Okay, so moving forward, what would be next? Chronologically, I'm thinking, oh yeah, movie Star Wars Rebels. Yeah, that did come out before Force Awakens. Rebels takes everything that was great about Clone Wars, the storytelling, the style, the way to weave in the whole Star Wars universe, but focuses the story. Clone Wars would do one-offs here and there. Rebels was about the crew of the Ghost, and they really developed all these characters. The emotional journey everyone goes through, the amount of pain, sadness, happiness, tears, and crying that I did during the show is unmatched. Rebels is absolutely a triumph of a series, especially for Star Wars, and it kept itself consistently good through its entire 4-season run. I absolutely love this show. And for me, while, I think Clone Wars finale was really great, Rebels was good throughout, and it's going to go right below Empire, just slightly below. S tier is going to be my top 5 when we get to the end of this. But Rebels was fantastic. That is a great show. Okay. Moving along, let's talk Force Awakens, because we got to. Sequel trilogy, as many may know, did not turn out as we expected. There was a lot of hype train. It made a ton of money, but it did have diminishing returns over the trilogy, and it made a lot of people upset. Force Awakens as a movie is not bad. I'm not happy with certain character choices in terms of the original trilogy characters because I feel like they're brought in to essentially do nothing, and then they all die. Sorry for spoilers for movies that came out years ago. In the trilogy as a whole, I feel like Han, Luke, and Leia got the short end of the stick. They didn't get enough focus, but also simultaneously were pulling focus from the new characters that needed more time. And yeah, this movie in hindsight, on its own, it's gonna go in the C tier. But as a trilogy, this trilogy is problems. Which brings us to Forces of Destiny. I think so. Forces of Destiny. Forces of Destiny is kind of cool. It's a web series. It's meant to promote a toy line. I like it in the general sense of here's a bunch of random little stories from across the Star Wars timeline. And I like to see that kind of stuff. So Forces of Destiny, I'm going to put that in the appreciated tier. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's kind of cool. And that I think is important. All right, Rogue One would be next. Rogue One, I think this movie I thought it was really good when I first saw it. I've seen it in recent years. It's okay. It has some weird gaps and problems to it. So it's also going to go in appreciated. It used to be higher for me. But over time, I've sort of just started to forget that this movie happened. There's standout moments like the Vader hallway scene. And I really like the character of Cassian Andor for a lot of reasons. But the rest of the movie is just kind of okay, that happened. It was good. Could have been a little better. And I think that over time, I've sort of started to forget it. It's not as memorable to me. Okay, I'm just going to say Last Jedi in my ranking and not really discuss this because I don't want to talk about this stupid movie. Because regardless of anything good or bad this has done, this movie has been talked to death on the internet and no one has anything interesting to say about it. For me, it is a well-made movie that has a ton of plot holes, a ton of mischaracterizations, and a lot of other stuff that doesn't fit with the rest of the trilogy because there was zero plan and that's all Disney's fault. Disney Lucasfilm's fault. From a filmmaking standpoint, it's well made. From a Star Wars standpoint, it makes me upset. From a fan perspective, I have to land somewhere in the middle, and Last Jedi ends up in the didn't hate, just above Force Awakens. Because I feel like Force Awakens overpromised on a trilogy, and Last Jedi just did stuff. I don't like a lot of things in Last Jedi, but I'll put it there. It's just where it's going to go. Okay. Star Wars Resistance. Now, this was a show that I thought could have been really cool. Taking place in the sequel trilogy, sort of how Rebels was in the original trilogy and Clone Wars was in the prequels. It's okay. It didn't do anything. This show, I thought, there was one point where I thought, oh, this is going to tie into Rise of Skywalker with the Exegol stuff. Nope. Oh, this is going to tie in with, Poe's story. Nope. It didn't. It didn't affect anything. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I'm never going to watch it again. I don't know where to put Resistance. You know what? It's going to go right in that same C tier. Because honestly, it's just there. It doesn't, there's no reason to watch it, is what I'm saying. Because it got canceled after 2 seasons. It didn't do anything significant. The characters didn't develop that well. It just didn't do anything. That's where it's at. Okay. I think Galaxy of Adventures is next. Galaxy of Adventures was a web series where it recreated episodes and moments from Star Wars in a 2D, highly stylized style, and it would relive moments, and it's fantastic. As a Star Wars fan, it takes those moments and takes them beyond the realm of live action and makes them more animated. And there were people that got upset about stupid things in this, and I was just like, why are you getting upset that Leia is looking more badass with a blaster saving everybody like she did in the movie? But anyways, discourse aside, Galaxy of Adventures is going to go in the top of A because it's just pure enjoyment and love of Star Wars. And that is fantastic. Okay, Solo: A Star Wars Story. So, okay, I'm going to be controversial here. I like this movie. It's not, I feel like it would have been much better as a Disney Plus show. I 100% after watching Mandalorian and all that, this would have been a better Disney Plus show than a movie. But as a movie, I actually like it. It's going to go inappreciated above Rogue One. I can't put it in A because it's not best because it does have some weird holdups. But I liked Solo in this. I liked the dynamic with Chewie. I loved a lot of the characters. Kira was great. Loved this version of Lando as well. Again, big Lando fan. That does a lot for me. And, I loved a lot of the characters and a lot of the stuff. I just wish it was longer and it was like a Disney Plus show instead of a movie because I felt like it was too rushed. Okay, Rise of Skywalker. Not a great movie. But my favorite of the sequel trilogy. Don't ask me why. I can enjoy this one the most. There's still some stuff that bugs me, absolutely. But 2 things this movie does that makes it work for me. 1, it acknowledges the prequels. Thank you. It's 3 things. 2, Poe Dameron gets to do stuff. I hate how he's like dead for most of Force Awakens. Doesn't really get to do anything that good in Last Jedi. Poe's great. I love the character so much. He might be in the top 5. He's like in 5 or 6. But anyways, Poe's great. He gets to do stuff here. Minus some backstory stuff I have a problem with, and a whole different video if I ever want to talk about it. And then 3, Lando shows up. Finally. Thank you. And he doesn't die. I appreciate that. Lando is a survivor, and as it should be. That being said, it's going to go top of C. God, C just got piled on. It's not a great movie, and so that's why it keeps it low, but I like it the best of the 3 sequel movies. All right, let's talk about the new golden age of Star Wars called Disney Plus. We're going to talk about Mandalorian as just the 2 seasons that have come out so far. I loved it. I wanted a bounty hunter show. I didn't entirely get a bounty hunter show, but I got a really great lone wolf and cub type show, and that is awesome, and I appreciate it. Mandalorian's great. It's going in the top, right below Revenge of the Sith. Season 3 might push it above. I didn't like Season 2's ending that much, but I feel better about it after Boba Fett. Mandalorian's great. It's Star Wars in a new, exciting way, and it's not just another rebellion versus Empire story or version of it. It's different, and I like that. It brings in stuff from the animated stuff. It's pure Star Wars, and I love it. Book of Boba Fett, weirdest show ever. For those that don't know, I know we're doing Bad Batch last, but anyways, Book of Boba Fett is weird. It's not a Boba Fett show as much as it's just a weird interlude for Mandalorian stuff. It's just Star Wars the TV show, I think is what people called it that. That's what it is. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Last episode was great. Really cool stuff. I especially love, I think it was episode 5. There's like a whole thing that looks like a Gundam space colony. Amazing stuff. Unique things for Star Wars. Really great. Book of Boba Fett, not amazing. But I'll put it in appreciated above Solo. I do like it. And then we get to Bad Batch. Now, we've only had 1 season. I'm looking forward to season 2. I really like Bad Batch. It was different than other Star Wars stories. Again, it's not a rebellion story. It's kind of a found family story. It's sort of the Bad Batch's adventures. I liked that it was like 16 episodes. Oh my God. We had breathing room. It wasn't like, hey, we got to get all the plot in. I also love the episodic nature of Mandalorian, for that matter. But, you know, it was a really cool story and really interesting, and it sort of showed what happened to the clones after the Clone Wars. But that wasn't its entire focus. It actually did focus on its characters, much like Rebels. It was kind of like the meeting of Rebels and Clone Wars in styling and making this really nice series. And I love all the characters in it. So it's going in the A tier, just above Clone Wars. It could push higher with time. But that's my Star Wars tier list. I feel like I want to move something. I want to move something down. You know what? Last Jedi's going in D tier just because the internet made it insufferable. You can't talk good or bad or any rational thought about Last Jedi without people coming at you. And if that happens in the comments, I'm not gonna discuss this movie in the comments. It's not worth it. So if we're talking about like my personal rankings and we don't talk to me about a movie, I don't hate Last Jedi. I thought Luke's arc was good. I don't like a lot about it either. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And that's why it's in the Don't Talk to Me. Okay, so running through, the Don't Talk to Me is Clone Wars movie, Last Jedi, Didn't Hates, Rise of Skywalker, Resistance, Force Awakens, Attack of the Clones, Holiday Special, Appreciated, Book of Boba Fett, Solo, Rogue One, Phantom Menace, Forces of Destiny, Best of the Rest, Galaxy of Adventures. No one's going to rank that as high as me. I love that so much. Galaxy of Adventures, Star Wars, Bad Batch, Clone Wars again, the other one. And then the favorites for all time, my top 5. Number 5, Mandalorian. Number 4, Revenge of the Sith. Number 3, Star Wars Rebels. Number 2, Empire Strikes Back. Number 1, Return of the Jedi. That's the list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button and hit subscribe and notification bell. Keep up with future videos. I don't know, next time I'll do something Star Wars related. We'll see. This channel's got a lot more than just sci-fi fantasy stuff like this. So go check it out. I got a lot of things on the channel and you probably will find something you'll enjoy. And yeah, check out HeroClub at hero-club.com for news and more. My awesome graphic designer on Twitter at darkclass643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, may the Force be with you.